I say this all the time, but if you had a black mama like I had a black mama,
So you're talking about Black mothers. Ooh, this is my favorite topic. Uh, Black mothers actually do not teach their daughters to be wives. They teach them to be men. They teach them to be husbands. They raise their daughters to be husbands and they raise their sons to be wives. Why? It's sick. I don't know why they do it, but if you had to break down the science behind it and the behaviors behind it, it would be because most likely this woman probably was with a man and it's due to poverty. So due to poverty, she probably was with a man who probably was a bum. So he couldn't afford to take care of his family. Or she was probably with a man who could not provide as well. Or she could have been with a man and life could have happened. So in the Black community, we deal with so many different systematic oppressions. So she could have had a man who either left her, died, or went to jail. And these affect the way that she can raise her children. So she ends up raising her daughters to be independent and she pushes education because what she's really doing is she's actually grooming you to be the husband, her husband specifically. She wants you to go out and get the education and go further and do what you wish the father or her man would have did to provide. So she pushes her daughters to be the provider because she knows that you can, and it's a larger part of misogyny. It's women's misogyny. And she pushes you to get education so you can come back and take care of her and the family. She's grooming you to be her future husband. And the reason that you are unable to find a husband or that you're not taught to get a husband is because she doesn't want you to get a husband. She wants you to be her husband. So she makes you, and she turns you into a husband instead of teaching you to attract a husband. So now you are a man. You're her man. And you're gonna go get your education. You're gonna come back and you're gonna help her pay the bills. You're gonna help her around the house. You're gonna help her with the rest of the kids. You're gonna help her financially, mentally, spiritually, everything. You're gonna do all that for her because that's what she groomed you for. And why? I find that a lot of mothers do this because they are punishing their children for the sins of the father. So because they gave birth to this man's child and he doesn't provide or he left or anything, they look at the child who looks like the father and says, well, you got to pay your way. You gotta pay, like, somebody owe me something. They're not gonna go to the man who actually impregnated them and left them. They're gonna go to the children and say, you owe me. You need to give me what your father was supposed to give me. So they punish you and turn you into your father, into the man that they wish that your father was. And then when you look at what they do to the boys is they turn them into wives. They get them to be feminine and think that someone's supposed to take care, women are supposed to take care of you and do for you. So they turn them, groom the men to be bums. And it doesn't make sense because when you look in the Black community, there's so many men who just don't strive or don't go for anything, and it's mostly because their mothers told them they didn't have to. And they do this and they become bums, and that's the opposite of what a husband is. A husband is a provider. He is from an early, if you look at other cultures from an early age, they learn how to take care of a household by the age of 7. By 7, the boys know how to take care of the family. They know how to make money. They have learned a trade of some sort, or they've gone to work with the father and they figured out how to make money. They pretty much can take care of the house. If anything were to happen to the father, they could take on the responsibilities and roles of father by age 12 or 13. However, in the Black community, the boys are not groomed to be men and they're allowed to act like women and girls until they're in their 30s. So they never become men. And if you were grooming your son to be a father, the first thing you would teach him is to go out and figure out how to provide because a woman has needs and children cost money. So the first thing he needs to do is figure out how to make money. But you see, a lot of these mothers have a bunch of bums. So the reason that mothers do not teach you to be a wife or teach their sons to be husbands is because they're deliberately teaching you the opposite so that you never attract a husband or a wife. So then you become 32, 42, 52, 62, and you have no spouse. So what are you going to do? You're going to go back, you're going to go to the person who you think loves you, who you think had your best interest at heart, your mother. And you're going to give her everything that you accumulated in life, thinking that she had your back this whole time. The whole time she sabotaged you and deliberately made you a husband instead of a wife, or with the son, made him into a wife instead of a husband. All because if you actually go out here and get a wife, who's going to take care of me? And with the daughters, if you actually go out here and get a husband and start your own family, who's going to take care of me? So it's all selfish, diabolical, and unfortunate. And it happens a lot in the Black community, which is why we can't date properly, we can't get together. A mother who cares for her daughter is always going to be preparing her daughter for when she's not around in the future. Same with her son. So if a mother is not preparing you for dating, marriage, she does not care about your future. Not saying that you have to get married, like that's a given, but that's a role that most people play. Marriage is not everything. Like it's not your entire world. It's a title and a role that you're going to have one day. Just is one little fraction of your life. But to be whole rounded and full, you're going to need all of those fractions. You're going to need the entire pieces to the pie. So for her to deliberately cut that piece out, it really it really destroys the entire pie. And it's on purpose. It's deliberate because most likely she probably couldn't navigate dating, or she couldn't keep a husband or a man. So if she knew she couldn't keep anybody around, the best thing she could do is manipulate her children into being independent and then bringing the money back to her. And with the sons is, if no woman will ever have you, you'll always come home to mama. It's a diabolical, systematic, like other cultures groom their children at early ages to get married because they know it's necessary. And in some cases, it's it's mandatory for survival with blending assets and merging families and being able to multiply. Like it's mandatory to get married. And the crazy thing is with the boomers, it was mandatory for them. A lot of boomers have been married at least once. Did it last? No. But most of them have been married. And then you look at the generation after them, the Xers and the millennials, some of them have not been married at all. And as you have to question and ask, well, what is that gap? Because when you get to the boomers and up, everybody's been married. But when you get to the Xers and down, no one's really getting married. They're having children, but they're not really building families and getting married. And it makes you think, well, why is that? Because your elders, a marriage requires the entire family. It requires everybody, the mother, the father, the grandmother, the grandfather, the great grandmother, the great grandfather, the uncles, and everybody contributes to a marriage. And we're just not doing that anymore. It takes everybody. And now I'm going to insert a clip from Sister Act 2, which is giving an example of what I'm saying. Because basically in Sister Act 2, she wanted Lauren Hill's character, she wanted to sing, and her mother manipulated her, abused her authority, and told her that she was not allowed to sing, that she had to go to school and get an education and pay bills and put food on the table. And as a child in school, why is that her responsibility? It's not. It's the mother's responsibility. But because she chose, basically, she dates bums. She dated a man who didn't have resources and couldn't take care of her and her family. And then he died. So what you're seeing is her mother saying, you have to take on the role of your father now. So you have to go to school and get an education so you can help me. Because whose bills is she paying? She's a child. She can go figure things out. She has time to do all those things. She's saying, I need you to go to school and get an education because I need you to come go get some money and help me. She's grooming her to be her husband because that girl is going to be broken because she didn't get to live her dreams. She's going to be broken because she wasn't raised by a feminine mother. She's going to be broken because she doesn't know how to be a wife. And all that's going to do is she's going to go out here and live life and she's going to end up right back on her mother's doorstep. And that's what she wants.
Singing does not put food on the table. Singing does not pay the bills. Singing is no guarantee to a future, even if you have got
Mama,
talent.
do you know I can sing?
So could your daddy, and he died still trying to make it.
But what does that have to do with me? Mom, we're a good choir. They want to take us to this all-state music competition. We could win.
Baby,
We're
if you want
good.
to win in life, then you keep your nose in them books and out of the clouds.
If you could just listen to me. Let me explain.
Baby, I know how you feel. Really, I do. But there are a lot of talented people right down there on the street singing their shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Now, is that how you want to end up?
No, that's not what I
Good. Then you don't have time for any choir because you got to study.
Mommy, we have a
The
chance
choir
of
and the
winning.
competition are out.
Mommy.
If you butt mama me one more time,